So that should be an obvious start. Age, very different. We've done really fun focus groups comparing older gay men to younger gay men, older lesbians to younger lesbians. Their media connections, their media consumption, their connections with the community, even their coming out process is so different. And that makes their motivations and their purchasing so different. You can't lump us all together. Ethnicity, another segment to look at within LGBT, where we relate to each other different. We're going to talk a little bit about that in terms of our focus groups in a moment. Relationship status. Singles buy differently, have different motivations than people who are in a relationship. Personal interests, of course. Some guys love sailing, some guys love theater, some guys go bowling, some guys go backpacking. There's a wide variety of differences within our community. And of course, geographic location. New Yorkers are different than San Franciscans. Seattle people are very different than those who live in Fort Lauderdale. And we're finding that in our research. It's been really fascinating to break it down. So we're going to dismantle the averages just for a moment here. We live in every type of community. I think probably through the 90s, we've tracked zip code moves, and we've seen how people move into the urban core. But now, look at Iowa. You know, there are places where we feel comfortable coming out right where we live, right where we grew up, right on Main Street. And because of that, the diversity of where we live is also really growing in a big way.
So we've been tracking a lot of this over time, and those living in urban big cities is definitely dropping. Most of us don't live in the urban big city anymore, and we're seeing it drop every year.
Yeah. Highest level of education. Although 70% have a bachelor degree or higher, you see that there's a whole range here. And similarly with income. Although we have possibly higher discretionary spending, our income may be about average, but we run the gamut. And I think a big mistake, especially in terms of newcomers to the market, they want to sell us their luxury product, their high-end product. And that's great. There's a market for that. But hey, there's also a market for the lower-end purchases. If you sell hotel rooms, there's a market for the luxury suite. There's a market for the Motel 6 and the Red Roof Inn too. Okay? So that is a big mistake, and we want to say that there's a whole range out there. This is a case study, and I think this is really fascinating. I think it'll really illustrate the differences and the opportunities within LGBT. For the past many years, our tourism survey has basically scaled what are the most visited destinations. So we don't ask what's the most gay friendly, what's your favorite, where are you going next year. These are all kind of emotional connections. What we ask is where did you go in the past year on vacation and spend at least a night, okay? So they spent money there. And this is our list. New York is number 1, San Francisco is number 2, Las Vegas is number 3, Chicago, LA, Washington, DC. So you see that this ranking is something that we've been producing every year. Well, in 2004, 2 things happened. One is, again, our survey panel got huge, and so we were able to start to dissect the data and run filters. The other thing that happened is that a lot of new destinations were emerging into the gay market. I mean, if you think about it, Seattle's in the gay market, Philadelphia's in the gay market. These were destinations that were really off the radar in the 90s. So as more and more destinations started to come into the market, we wanted to see, for them, where they stood in their rankings. I think it's really interesting that a small town like Palm Springs would be number 8, and Sonoma County 15, Provincetown 16. These are tiny micro towns, but they've become really popular, and they get a lot of, especially considering how many hotel rooms they have, they get a lot of business from the LGBT community. But let's bust this out a little bit. Let's look at a breakdown of gay men. We'll say younger gay men, middle-aged gay men, and older gay men. You see Fort Lauderdale is number 7 in the overall ranking, and this is what we've been promoting for all these years. They're number 5 among 55 plus. They're number 12 among younger gay men. So this is a wake-up call for Fort Lauderdale, that when these 55 pluses move on to their next life, those younger people don't even know about Fort Lauderdale, and they're not visiting. So that is a big, because of this wake-up call, it's a big emphasis of theirs right now is to understand and attract younger gay visitors. Provincetown, number 16, it's number 15 or 16 among the older gay men, but it isn't even on the map for younger gay men. Let's bust it out a little bit more. Let's talk about gay men versus lesbians versus the overall ranking. And again, this is just a case study. It could be through any industry, but tourism has really been engaged in the gay market for many, many years. It's really easy for us to break this out. You see New York City #1, and New York City really virtually #1 across the gay male market. But it's #7 among older lesbians. We need to understand why that is and work to attract older lesbians, because #7 is a big step down from #1. Fort Lauderdale, you see #7, we talked about #5, #12, not on the map at all among the lesbian community. Seattle, #5 among middle-aged and older lesbians, a natural attraction there, but hardly even on the map. If you look at younger gay men, it's 20. So this just shows, I think, as a nice case study, the diversity within LGBT. We are not one market. If you think of us as one market, you're probably missing a lot of opportunity and therefore a lot of return on investment. Again, back to Provincetown, #3 among older lesbians, but not even on the map among younger gay men. So really, we are a slice of the world's population. That's why I started off saying, you may represent the diversity department of your corporation. And because you represent the diversity department of your corporation, you're in charge of the African American market and the Latino market and the Asian American market and now the gay market, okay? But within that gay market, we are African American, Latino, women, Asian, and so forth. And that's really where your opportunities are. So obviously, there could be some crossover. If you have some success in your African American marketing, it could very well translate into your LGBT African American marketing too.